So born in St. Louis, Missouri in 1954, what are some of your earliest musical memories?
Singing with my dad. I used to hear my dad and his brothers sing together. They did kind of Leuven Brother style type music, and so I was always around music pretty much all my life. And as a matter of fact, when my mom met my dad, he had a guitar, so it just started before I was even thought of. But anyway, he was playing guitar when she met him. But anyhow, so from the very beginning, I guess I've always loved music and always enjoyed it. But my dad sang with his brother, and then kind of like brothers, sometimes they don't get along too well. So
yes.
they quit singing together. So anyway, as I was growing up, I guess he could see that I enjoyed music and like singing, and then we just started singing together for our own enjoyment. And sometimes our friends and neighbors, we'd sing for them. We kind of got a little bit more of a repertoire, and before you know it, we were in the music business.
Okay. And then got professional in 1969 when you were 15 years old.
Yeah, in 1969 we recorded the folk song "Leaving on a Jet Plane," and so we just kind of had a country cover of it, and it hit the charts. So we decided, well, should we get all the way into country music and move to Nashville or not? And my dad had a barber shop, and my mom had a beauty shop in another area over there, and so they just decided we were all going to move to Nashville, and they sold their shops and our house and everything, and we moved to Nashville because Daddy said if we didn't do that, we'd probably, if things got tough, we'd come back.
I see.
So he said, so that's what we pretty much committed to it, and it took 7 years till we had Heaven's Just Sent Away. We had some other, chart records in between that, and worked and played out on the road until that all happened.
Okay, and you were saying about Heaven's Just a Sin Away. How did that one come about?
Well, Daddy was downtown Nashville and ran into Jerry Gillespie, who wrote the song, and we had known him through another project that we had done a few years back, and so he said, well, I got this song, I think it'd be great for you guys, and Daddy said, well, we're not on a label right now, we're just still looking for one and deciding what to do, and so he said, but I'll take the song and listen to it, and so he did, and he brought it home, and we listened to it. We said, oh, that's a cute little song, I kind of like that song, and we said, well, if we get another deal here, we'll for another album, we'll keep that in mind. We stuck it up there, and then when we got the Ovation deal to do that album, we took it down, and but before we even turned on the go button on it, before we even heard it again, we could remember it. We could remember the chorus. We sang it, oh yeah, So we only heard it one time. But we still didn't realize it was that much of a hit. But that's really the main reason. We said, yeah, it's catchy, that's good, So that's the reason that we recorded it.
Okay. And it has become one of your signature songs.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it sure has.
And you said that you never thought it would go that far.
No, not really. We didn't really recognize it. We were kind of into doing a lot of old style, more country tradition, really traditional stuff, and so we just weren't aiming for that. But even though we liked a lot of different kinds of music, but we just didn't recognize it. Sometimes when you're the one singing it, you don't realize. Sometimes you like the songs that maybe somebody else doesn't like.
I see.
Especially hearing it.
And then in 1984, jumping ahead a little bit, you had your last #1 classic hit with "Thank God for the Radio."
Yeah, that's right. We had that, and what happened with it is it was Max D. Barnes wrote that and song, and we were friends. He's a songwriter, and he sent us that song, and we really liked it. But the producer didn't happen to, he wanted to do other songs, and so, but Daddy said, no, we've got to do this song, whatever, we got to do this song, because he really believed in this song, we really liked it. So we recorded it, and right after he recorded it, he said, oh, I see why you like it. He said, so he recognized it once we recorded it,
I see, yes. And it's become a signature as well.
Yes, it sure did. One of my favorite songs to sing. A lot of times, I I start the show off many times with that song.
Oh, yes.
It's not a real up-tempo song or anything, but it just seems like that I just like to start it off like that with the acapella type thing that it has on the front.
And how did the Kendalls come to Branson, Missouri?
Well, we had planned on doing some shows in Branson, and so that's why we decided it was kind of centrally located and such, and we thought, well, this would be good, you know. We had spent 6 years in Gulf Shores, Alabama. We had a dinner theater and everything there, and we kind of got tired of that, and we decided, well, we'll come up here and do that. We were kind of trying to be off the road more, you know, and so that's what we did, was a way of working. But unfortunately, my dad passed away in about a year, or a little over a year after we moved up here, and so and so that's what happened. And then I have recorded since several different times. This is about the third project I've done.
You sure have, yes.
Daddy's away.
And if I may go back to, I hope I'm not going to upset you, but your father sadly passed away in 1998. What was it like to be solo on the stage after that? It
was very difficult. My husband was a lead guitar player, and of course he, you know, helped me so much with that, and so I got through that. I got past that, you know, thanks to his help. That really, you know, and his encouragement and other people's encouragement for me to go on and do things. We were right in the middle of a project that was called Jeannie Kendall. It was an acoustic project, and we had done some of the tracks, but we hadn't finished them all. So then what happened is some of my friends helped me out on that, and I had Alan Jackson and Rhonda and Darren Vincent and Ricky Skaggs and Allison Krause. They helped me out to finish the CD, and so I had that acoustic project out. I don't know what year that was out, but it was a little while. It was probably 4 or 5 years after Daddy passed away. It took me a while to get all that together, but I still was working, you know.
Yes,
on the road.
So there was no, how do I say it? There was no downtime between your father's passing and your comeback.
Or singing, no, not a whole lot. I kind of jumped back in the frying pan pretty fast, really. And I knew that he would like me to go on and keep singing, and so, you know, and it's just, God made me a singer, so that's just what I love to do, and I'm thankful that he did. I just truly enjoy singing, you know, and as long as I do and people like listening to it, I guess I'll just keep on doing it.
Okay, sure. And so tell us about your North American Country Music Hall of Fame induction in 2018.
Oh yeah, that was really fun. We went down to Pigeon Forge, and that's where they did it and everything, and we enjoyed that. Carl Acuff and me went down there, and we sung some of the old songs and everything, and so it was very enjoyable. They were very nice, really beautiful award, and very nice of them.
And that must have been quite an honor.
Oh, sure it was. Yeah, very much so.
And so, what is your thoughts on the modernization of country music?
Well, you know, I really like all kinds of music, and I listen to all music, and but I do have many people come to me and say, oh, I don't like the new country music, I don't like it, you know, and I understand some of the reasons why maybe they don't. You know, I think the new technology has brought a wonderful thing to be able to do a lot of projects that maybe you couldn't do.
That's
you know, because of even like, because with the COVID, people have still been able to record and do a lot of things and stream things, which that's what we have done on the You Got Me CD. So I think that's wonderful. But I think on the other hand, there's a lot of things that have gotten human and less personal into music that I think a lot of people miss. And then I think that along with the technology of recording, you have a lot of people that I think a lot of music had a lot of prominence in the vocals, and maybe they don't have it as much, because I do notice that if I hear live music many times, I can't tell what they're saying or what they're singing, and I think that's part of the thing that maybe people are missing in that, you know, and maybe it just needs a little bit more simplicity and a little bit more clarity. And but I think that can be achieved with new technology. But I think a lot of times, you know, that's what it is. And you know, they wrote some great songs. It's hard to, you know, it's hard to get some as good a songs as some of the old tunes that they did write. I mean,
Exactly.
I mean, you know, they were the foundation of country music, and I do not think that we need to pull the foundation out from under. I think there's room for a lot of real traditional country music, and there's room for more contemporary also.
Okay, okay. No, you have a new project released.
Yes, we do. It's called You Got Me, and it's Jeannie Kendall and Carl Acuff Jr.
Okay.
And we're just really excited about it, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And actually, we got another Jerry Gillespie song on here.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and it's the only other one that we ever recorded, even though Jerry did a couple projects with it as a producer, but we still, but we never did record another one of the songs. So I thought, well, when we were talking about doing the CD, I had one song called Grandma's Quilt that I was wanting to put on a CD,
Yes.
and so I thought, well, I got that one, and I said, I think I'll call Jerry, and he happens to live up in West Branson up here, and I called him, and I said, we need to have lunch or something, and so we did, and we got together, and I said, we need some songs. He said, you got any songs or whatever? And he said, oh yeah, I'll send them to you. And so he did, and the one that Carl and I really liked was one called Island in the Kitchen.
Yes.
And it's him and Dan Willis wrote, and we think it just turned out really good, and it's a real cute song. And so then from there, really, I didn't have to hardly look for very many songs for this project, because what happened is I told a friend that used to book us, Dean Raymer, and she had called. She said, you know Bill White? I said, yeah, we produced the album, helped him produce the album a long time ago, back in the 70s, and he's a DJ at WSM, and he writes with a lot of different people. He's a really, really excellent writer. And so then he called, and he said, he sent me some songs, and quite a few songs, and then I ended up doing 4 songs that he had written with other writers. He really had some really, really good songs, and I kind of told him what we were looking. And then also our producer of the album, Tim Crouch, he said, do you want to hear a song from Glenn Duncan? I said, is that Glenn Duncan, the fiddle player? And he said, yeah, and Glenn Duncan used to work for Daddy and I in the Kendalls band, and so I said, yeah, sure. And then he sent a song called Pray, or I Gotta Pray, is what I call it, anyway. And so I think it turned out really good too. I'm just really happy with a lot of the songs. And then once we got finished with all that, we had 7 brand new songs. And then I said, well, we always like to put some old classic type country songs on there, you know.
Yes.
And then we put a Hank Williams song on there, No Teardrops Tonight, and Blue Stay Away From Me. And then we put I Feel Like Traveling On, the little gospel tune on there, and then we were done with it. So it was very, you know, usually it's a struggle finding material, but we really didn't have any hard time at all this time. And so it was just really great, and I was just very excited about it. And also that a lot of my friends, I got to do material that they wrote.
Okay, well that's great. And so I must ask you how this COVID-19 has affected you.
Oh, well, thank the Lord nobody's really got sick or
That's
anything,
good.
but we just, you know, you have to cancel, everything gets canceled, and, you know, and nothing has gotten, you know, firm on dates again, because,
Yes.
you know, that nobody knows what to do. I'm sure in Canada it's like that too.
Exactly, that's for sure.
It's very disappointing. You know, we hope and pray that it gets better, and, you know, things get more back to what we used to call normal.
Exactly. And live shows and everything. It must be difficult having a CD out right now with not being able to promote it as much.
It is difficult. You can't do the normal thing that you do, you know, and it usually all goes with also, you know, going and doing live music with it.
Exactly.
But it's just the way it is. So
Yes,
I'm just thankful I got it done anyway.
Yeah. And so how would you like to see the Kendalls legacy remembered?
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard question. I just hope that the music stands up and they still love the music. And you know, I don't know. Just we are what we are. We were what we were, and you know. And I don't know. I just hope that they enjoy it and they remember the shows that we did and all the things that we did. And I do that since Daddy's been gone. When I go do shows, and I have throughout the years, the first thing they say, "Oh, we loved your daddy. Your daddy was just a great. We loved your daddy." You know what I mean? So, you know, even though Daddy was not a very boisterous kind of person, you know, he kind of laid back more, and I did most of the talking and most of everything, whatever. And he was but he was a wonderful, wonderful man, and you realize how much, a lot of people underestimate harmony singers, I think, and how great, how much of an accomplishment, and how much they add to people's music.
Exactly.
Daddy, he never did really want to do a lot of lead singing. I'd have to kind of go, hey, you need to do lead on this, or so we didn't have as much of that, but we had some of it, but because he just really was not, he just loved to sing harmony and harmony parts, and almost everything he sung, 2 parts on almost everything, and he was just a very, very gifted singer, not a educated musically singer in that way, but he just knew how to do it, and he just went in there and do it back to back. He'd come in like on the Heaven Just Sent Away. That the majority, I'd say, about 8 or 9 songs, I think, was done in one day. We had a couple songs, I think, already, but we did the whole thing in one day, and in between sessions, he put the harmony parts on there. But everything that we would do would usually be a thing where both parts would go down, and basically what you hear on all those early recordings is a live recording. All the Ovation music was, I overdubbed one line in all the albums we did for them, but of course Daddy had to overdub his other part, for his parts, but pretty much it's that way. That's one thing I do miss about the old recording, because you didn't have, everybody's in there, you're doing the excitement of all that is really, really good. But I've learned to appreciate the other ways of recording, and I enjoy that too just as much. But it is a lot of fun to get together with everybody and do that,
Exactly.
But very few people do that anymore, even before the COVID came. Everybody's always doing their tracks and laying down their vocals, and there's good things about that too. You do have a lot more control and a lot more things you can do that way, So I take the new technology and just appreciate it too, and it all works out well.
Okay. And I must ask you, what was it like being the first father-daughter duet team in country music?
Well, a lot of people didn't have a whole lot of faith in us. For one thing, when we were on Dot Records, as a matter of fact, they would say, well, first off, duets just can't get #1 records, and they hadn't, really. And then they say, oh yeah, father-daughter, that won't work. But, that was like in the first few years they were wanting to retire Daddy right away.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And way before that should ever happen. So, and anyway, so they were kind of in that mode. But then after we got the Heaven Just Sent Away, those same people said, "Oh yeah, boy, were we wrong." You know?
Exactly.
Sometimes I think people just don't understand that just because it hasn't been doesn't mean that it can't work.
Exactly.
Plus, I think also this, as far as we had a wide spread of age groups that liked us. You know what I mean? We had the younger people, and we had the more Daddy's age people. So we had it really worked out well,
Exactly.
And we always had some wonderful, wonderful audiences, and everybody was always really, really nice to us. And I had so many young girls that would come and say, "Oh, I just think this is so great that you get to work with your dad and everything." So on that end, they really appreciated that too, and vice versa,
And so, wrapping up for today, what song is your favorite of yours and your father's?
That's a hard thing, but of course, Heaven Just Sent Away, you're going to say that because it was, the biggest, but really, Thank God for the Radio is one of my favorite songs, that we recorded. But, as the years go by, and sometimes you even forget songs that you even recorded,
Yes,
after a while, it's like, oh, okay. I'll be flipping through my phone and I'll say, oh, okay, let me hear that. And I go, oh, well, that wasn't too bad.
Exactly, yes.
After you listen back to it, you go, oh, And I find sometimes some of those songs that I remember, I thought, oh, I didn't really do a very good job on that. And I'll listen back later and I say, boy, maybe I was too hard on myself. So I guess as the years go by,
I hear you.
You're not quite as critical. I'm not really sure. But anyway, I just hope that everybody really likes this new effort, because I do want to say that Carl Lakehouse just did absolutely a fabulous job of singing harmony. We've been singing together for, I don't know, several years.
Oh, yeah.
And he just did a wonderful job, and we've got couple regular duets in there, and then we've got all the other. And I do want to say also before we that they can pretty much load it down on the, most all the sites,
Okay.
But and also, but if they want to get a real CD,
Mm-hmm.
you can get it at www.leapinghawkrecords.com, or they can get it off of A-Cup Enterprises at hotmail.com, or I think you can also get it Carl A-Cup Jr., www.carlacupjr.com, and you can, and they will send it. We'll send it up to Canada. That's not that far.
Okay, well that's great. I guess I should ask you one more question while I have you on the phone. Is how did you come up with the song, Grandma's Quilt?
I was just sitting there one evening on the couch and thinking about stuff, and I've always, I had, my grandma she was actually working in a sewing factory a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And also, she had one of those treadle machines, and such. And I kind of learned how to sew. She showed me how to sew. That's my daddy's mom. And then my other grandma would sew all kinds of things, and Afghans and very such. And then I just got to thinking, when you throw that over you, one of those quilts and one of those blankets or Afghans, how cozy and wonderful you feel. It's a loving feeling.
It sure is.
I mean?
Yeah.
And to know that was made especially for you with the love that they had for you. And that's really basically, and so I just sat there and wrote it down, and I, and had a kind of a tune mentally in my head, and then when I saw my husband, and he said, I showed him that, and he said, oh yeah, so he got his guitar out and started playing it, and we started playing it, and before you know it, was a song, and he fixed me a little demo, and it's been a few years, but I actually was writing it for a different project. Brian Fisher had a project that was going to be that kind of style of music, and that was our producer that did have Just in a Way and a lot of albums, and so he was going to do another project with me, and he passed away. And so then it was another few years before I got to this, and then I pulled out that and listened to it, and I thought, well, maybe we can make this work in this project.
Okay. And it's one of my favorites off this new project, too.
Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate that. That's where it came. It came from the heart in that way. And I think there's a lot of people that have those sentimental items in their life. And maybe they are only things, but they mean a lot to us.
Yes, they sure do. Well, it's been a pleasure, Jeannie, and you keep it country.
Okay, thank you.
God bless you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for calling. Bye-bye.